Right, so today we're going to be talking about game sense. The main thing I want you guys to take away from this video is actually how to improve it. Basically, in this video we're going to be talking about all sorts of things, and we're going to break down game sense and actually what is it. Because if you don't know what it is, you can't improve at it. I'm going to give you all the strategies I've used to become the IGL I am today and the IGL that I will be in the future, and this is what I'm going to be doing to improve. Basically, if you find anything useful in the video, make sure you hit that sub button, man. I'd love to see you around the channel more. And we're going to get straight into the video right now. So my goal for this video is to answer these three questions. What is game sense? How to develop and improve game sense? And how to know you're improving at game sense. Game sense is just a mechanic like everything else in the game, whether it's your editing speed, your building. Game sense is a mechanic that can be mastered, and I'm going to tell you how to do it right now. Basically, to start off, I'm going to give you a definition of game sense. Game sense is the ability to think of tactics, make quick decisions and solve problems, and the ability to do all of the above consistently while under extreme pressure. That's what I got from online and a lot of different Reddit forums, and I put it together to make that exact sentence. So it's to be able to make decisions that are hard for your whole team to make. That's what an IGL's job, and that's what I've kind of mastered, and that's how I lead rotates and make these hard decisions in game that could really change the whole output of what happens in a game. I am still trying to improve, because that's my job, to improve every day. It's my job to give you the information you guys need to improve every day. So we're going to get straight into this video, and we're going to talk about how to develop your game sense. If you're still here, man, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you. Trust me, if you've got any questions, I'll answer them. That's what we do over here. So boys, after a lot of research and a lot of time put in to find this, I have only found that there's 3 steps you need to master to improve your game sense. Only 3 steps, man. And they're very simple steps. When you hear them out, it'll make sense, hopefully, with the way I'm about to explain it. But it's very simple, okay? So part 1, okay? Part 1 of improving your game sense. Accept that you fucked up and take responsibility. So if your whole team dies, don't try and put it, oh, it was RNG, or oh man, why is it a third party, or why did I die to fall damage? You take responsibility and like, man, I fucking jumped off the side and killed myself. Or boys, I'm after getting this into a third party, we need to dip. You take responsibility, and the second you take responsibility for the actions of your team, first of all, you're going to be a much better person because you're willing to take all of the team's, even if it isn't your fault. I'm not saying always take the blame. If it's somebody else's fault and like it's messing up the team, point it out to them because they might not be aware of it. Don't give out to them, but just point it out to them. If they get like fucking toxic, you need to find yourself a new team, and it's a hard decision to make, but it's got to be done. What I'm trying to say though is, if you mess up and it causes the whole team's death, or if you mess up and it caused your death, just take responsibility. The first thing to do with improving your game sense is to acknowledge the fact of what went wrong and be conscious of how to improve from what went wrong. That leads us into part 2. And part 2 is figuring out where you fucked up. So in part 1, you've realized, A, I fucked up. Part 2 is actually figuring out where you fucked up and the exact second and the exact decision that caused your whole team to die. That's just going from an IGL's perspective. It might not be a thing where you fucked up your whole team. It might just be for you individually and how you got killed. So you need to look into that and realize where it is. So maybe it's like, hey, I thought I had a floor out, it was a cone, it could be stupid shit. Like, oh, I jumped in his box but I had no shells left. I tried to snipe him but I missed, and now the whole team is griefing me and I'm a solo. There's different reasons where you fucked up. You just got to realize that you fucked up. Then you got to realize where you fucked up. And then part 3 is finding a solution. So right there, that will initially, it does so much, man. It's hard to explain. I know you guys are probably getting impatient, and if you're young, you probably don't know what's going on. But you're going to find a solution then, okay? So the 3 things is literally just asking the question of, did I fuck up? Oh shit, I fucked up. Okay, where did I fuck up? Okay, how do I not fuck up again? So then when you realize that problem, what happens is you go, whatever, if it's a mechanical problem, for example, you're going to go and find a solution online. So maybe it's that retake you were doing and it didn't work. So for example, you go and learn a new retake and this retake works. Therefore, you cannot fuck up the old retake because it just wasn't effective enough, and that's the solution. If it's me and maybe I forget to place a floor when I'm tunneling endgame and my whole team drops a layer and gets killed or gets griefed, that's my fault, and I need to figure out how to improve my tunneling. So the solution is to go and practice in creative or play more scrims. Very simple solution. But what that does is it brings a thing called conscious awareness. And what conscious awareness is actually being conscious of a problem that could arise. So you're going to be in a situation where you're tunneling. So let's say, for example, it's the game after you fuck up in my scenario. I fuck up and I make a tunnel and our whole team falls down, gets griefed or dies. Next game I go in, if I take responsibility for what just happened, I'll be like, hey boys, last game I messed us up with the tunnels. I'm going to try my best not to do it this game. I'm sorry. Take responsibility, show that you're sorry. You don't have to say you're sorry if you're, you know, too much of a big ego to apologize for something that you did. Because if it's a tournament, man, your team will want an explanation, whether they say it or not. Then, what you do is you figured out where you fucked up. It's like, hey man, I was just sweating. I was trying too hard. I was too aggressive. I was moving too fast. And I messed up. So then, what you do next game is, when you're tunneling, it will arise to you. You don't have to try for this. Because you reflected on what just happened, you're going to be like, hey, last game I fucked up with the tunnels. I got to be careful this time. And it's simple as that. It's not a mechanical problem. It's just your awareness. You weren't aware of a problem. Now you are aware of the problem. So the problem is going to arise less often because you're aware of it. Example of, you get into enough third parties, you're going to realize, shit, you know. Like, I don't mean getting into third party fights. I don't mean taking them. I mean you're getting third partied. You're going to be like, hey, this isn't working. Something is happening. And we keep getting third partied. We're doing the same thing over and over again, and the same thing's happening. Let's switch it up a bit. And then you swap it up and you don't get third partied. You're going to still be conscious and cautious of a third party rolling up. And you kind of get, like me, I kind of get a second nature of kind of vibe. I'm like, we're going to get third partied if we take this. And it's not out of fear. We take a lot of fights, but it's just like, you know, now I'm conscious that shit, I could get third partied and my whole tournament could be over trying to grieve for one kill. And it's that boundary where you realize, hey, you know, I can take responsibility. You don't have to put yourself down and say you're shit, because that's not wrong, or that's not right even. It is like, if you explain it like this, if I say I'm shit at Fortnite, I'm going to bring my ego down, I'm going to bring my whole team's ego down. But if I be like, hey man, I fucked up, man, I fucked up with the tunnel and I got us all killed, boys, I didn't mean it, I'm sorry. Therefore, you're not harming your ego, you're not putting yourself down, and then you're not going to be playing disheartened and be like, man, I'm so shit at the game. You get into that mindset, it's just a spiral downwards. I've been there, I've done that. The best way to do it is to just take responsibility, be a man. If you're a woman, be a woman, you know, just take responsibility for your team. Your team will look at it as in, hey man, this guy knows where he fucked up. He's okay, he's a good player. And trust me, if I'm trialing out anybody, if I'm playing with anybody, seeing if they're good for a team, the first thing they do, if they acknowledge that they messed up, I see that as a sign of maturity. And I would 100% take them over a player who just cracked out of their mind, but has a shit mindset and a shit game sense. Game sense is where it's at. It gives you that sixth sense, and you can apply this to almost anything in game. Like, I mean, rotations. You rotate up and left, I guess, towards bugger, up by retail, playing dead side, and every time you do that, it messes up. When you take responsibility and be like, man, every time I take this rotate, I'm dying, but it looks like such a good rotate. It's going to bring up a question in the back of your mind to be like, is it actually a good rotate? Let me go watch a video. And then you end up watching my video and I'm like, hey, I got you covered. It's all G. I'll teach you how to rotate. Then you're going back into the game and you're like, oh shit, his rotates are actually kind of good. This is kind of neat. That's what I've been doing wrong. Okay, now you're conscious of the fact that you've been doing it wrong and you won't do it wrong anymore. You'll do it the right way. It's very simple like that. It's just being conscious of the problems. I'm talking too much. I hope this helped. I don't really feel like I need to go in depth anymore. I feel like I've covered it in many ways for you guys to understand if you didn't get it the first try. So yeah, if there's any questions, man, ask them down in the comments below. This is a kind of different style video. It's more me talking a lot and explaining things. I know that's kind of what I usually do, but I explain it in a different way, I feel, over the last few videos. So if there's anything you're confused about, just let me know in the comments. And same goes as if you really get it and you understand it, just let me know so I, I guess do this type of video more often if you guys can understand it more. Anyway, I'm out of here, man. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to leave you with a bit of gameplay. Thank you very much for stopping by. On this. 105 done.
Oh, I just got shot in the back. He just harpooned me.
Nope. How much is 200 ticks when it's closed?
I think it's either 2 or 5. I think it's second zone, so I think it's 2. You got this.